Hi everyone, today let's talk about the inflation report, then we'll get into all the normal data and charts. Do me a quick favor and like and subscribe and watch the video till the end to help out the channel, and let's get started. So annual inflation slowed to 2.9% today, much lower than the expectation. Core number stayed flat, 0.2 on the month, 3.2 on the year. And food prices went up a little bit while energy was flat. So overall, a pretty good read here. You can see those numbers continuing to downtrend from 3 to 2.9. And we've basically been straight down since 3.5 to current levels. Previous headline number in June was 3.3, and now we're to 3.2 in July. So continuing to trend in the right direction. And you can see that month over month number did jump quite a bit from the previous read to the current read, but overall not terrible, and it was in line with expectations. And markets were generally happy with this. Moving over to fear and greed, we're at a 26, up from a 24 yesterday, and up from a 19 a week ago. You can see momentum back into neutral here, so we're starting to see a little bit of a swing back to bullish. Strength, still in fear, breadth, still in fear, but turned up a little bit over the last 2 days. And then put-call ratio starting to decline back down after peaking around 0.93. And then the VIX almost all the way back down to the SMA. Interesting level there. Maybe we'll see a touch of that SMA. The price was 16.19 and the level is 15.63, so that'll be interesting tomorrow. And then looking at bonds, basically no move here, still extreme fear on both of those. Moving over to seasonality just for a moment, want to highlight that tomorrow and the next day are supposed to be statistically bullish. We'll see if that plays out. And then we have the options expiration on Friday. Tons of data tomorrow as well, retail sales, Philly Fed, imports, exports, housing market, business inventories, quite a bit of data actually coming out tomorrow. Moving over to the economic calendar here, you can see CPI data coming in good, 2.9 versus 3, and everything else was in line with expectations here. Again, slight step up on that month over month number, not super great, but overall not terrible. And then looking at tomorrow, we got core and headline retail sales like we talked about, some other economic data in there, Philly Fed manufacturing, as well as Fed balance sheet. And then for the Friday session, housing data there, and then Michigan inflation expectations and consumer sentiment to round out the week. Looking at the SPY here, you can see on the hourly chart, we pushed up, immediately turned back after rejecting that 544 level, eventually rallied back to it at the end of the session. You can see we're above it after hours. 0.32 on the day, nothing crazy. Momentum still bullish here. RSI still bullish on the daily chart. We're above that 55 EMA. That was what we were watching yesterday. So we gapped through that, rallied to the next level, and you can see we're holding above that price target of 544.01 after hours. As long as we hold that, 550 is within range. But remember that max pain, that is the highest level for this week that I would expect. So if we rallied up to there tomorrow, I would expect consolidation in this range for the Friday session. Moving over to the Tasty charts here just for a moment, you can see that upper ATR band continues to be resistance there at 544.35. Finding resistance there, rejected from there slightly. We're right at it after hours, so grinding slowly along that upper ATR. Not likely to see any major swings, but could also see a pullback potentially down to that ATR trailing stop down around 535. I think 540 should hold, but momentum is fading. You can see that trending lower here. Not a ton of volume over this last rally, so not super great, definitely an area of resistance, but we're still in bullish conditions. And then looking at that hourly chart, you can see grinding along that 8 EMA, holding that level pretty much throughout the session today, and that is at 543.88. Need that level to hold if this is going to continue higher. Hourly chart upper ATR is 546.45, so that gives you about $2 of upward price action. ATR trailing stop trending higher here, and that's currently at 540.48. Moving over to the NASDAQ, not as strong here. We did have the dip early, did have the rally just like the SPY, but couldn't break the level at 464.50, tested it here on the 10 o'clock candle, rejected immediately from that trend line. So this trend line continues to be important. Hit it yesterday, hit it again here today. Now we're rejecting off that level a little bit, still holding the trend, 21 EMA sitting at 462.72. And then you can see on the day, 0.03 to the upside, momentum still bullish, RSI still bullish. And after hours, we're actually up about 75 cents. So overall that looks okay, but you can see RSI here on the hourly chart, not looking so great as that rejects from the SMA and starts to downtrend. We'll see if price starts to follow through on that move. Support is 461.55. Tested that a bunch here today and it held just about every time. Did technically close below it on the 8 o'clock candle, but very quickly pushed right back up. And based on all of this, you would expect at least a little bit of bullishness. Daily chart, 55 EMA sitting there at 471.06. Structurally not quite as bullish as the S&Ps. Moving over to the Tasty charts, you can see upper ATR band currently sitting at 465.87. Got very close to it on that 7 o'clock candle. Came up just a little bit short and then here rejected on the 11 o'clock candle, and then after hours bouncing from that 144 EMA, which was the same level that we talked about yesterday. You can see 5 candles in a row right on top of that there, and that is at 463.04. After hours, we're back above it by about 50 cents. So we'll see if that holds, see if it pushes to that upper ATR band. Again, that's 465.89. And then basically the same structure here on the hourly when compared to the S&Ps, grinding on that 8 EMA. Didn't hold up as well as the SPY, but on a closing basis, we're back above it. Upper ATR band is all the way up at 467.96 here on the hourly charts. Momentum is bearish, but you do have a little bit more room to the upside. It's also worth mentioning ATR trailing stop has been flat for a bunch of candles here in a row, and that level is 459.61. We did test that on the 9 o'clock candle and then bounce right back up into that bullish condition. Moving over to the Russell and the Dow, the Russell was down 0.62. Not terrible. Tested the level at 206.50, held that level. It's bouncing a little bit after hours. And then looking at the Dow, much better candle there, up just over 0.5%. Momentum continues to swing to bullish. RSI crossed above the SMA. You can also see volume ramping here over the last 2 days, everything you would want to see. It's up a little bit more after hours, pushing through that 21 EMA, which is right where it closed, 400.05, and then after hours 462. If this continues to trend here, let's go ahead and extend out some of these trend lines, hit the price target, push through there. Next trend is all the way up at 407, which would put you back in this previous consolidation. We'll see how it plays, but right now it does look a lot better today than it did yesterday. Moving over to the Mag 7, bear candle here, interesting, 0.38. You can see going down, testing VWAP, testing the 21 EMA. Momentum still bullish, RSI still bullish. If this crosses below the SMA, that could be interesting. But still in this consolidation here, you could argue very close to an inside candle, not quite there. Tested the 55 as well at 262.01. So tested both of the endpoints of this range. Needs to hold that VWAP and hold the 21 EMA and push to 265.08 if it's going to stay bullish. If it rejects from here, it's probably going to push back down to this trend in the 9 EMA, which is currently sitting around 251.95. Or a little bit lower, maybe 251.75. Moving over to stocks that moved, I just wanted to follow up on StarBucks after their massive jump yesterday. Ended up down about 2% here today, inside candle. Maybe some of the glow is falling off there after that massive jump. Or maybe it's just being patient, pulling back in time. And then we got CrowdStrike jumping 3.27%. Obviously, they had that abysmal news where they pushed an update and basically a bunch of computers crashed across many different industries. But since then, we kind of bottomed out on Monday. Got all the way down to 200 and we've rallied all the way up to 250. So that's a pretty decent move. If you caught some of these lows and we're right at the 21 EMA, if this zone breaks, this could absolutely push up to that 288 area. CrowdStrike is a pretty volatile stock. And in my opinion, they're still the best in brand when it comes to cybersecurity. Moving over to Apple and Microsoft. Apple up 0.2%. Nothing crazy. Still right here at the trend. Can't seem to get above it. Momentum still trending towards bullish. RSI still trending towards bullish. And then looking at Microsoft, quite a bit better. 0.69 starting to catch up a little bit. Momentum step to bullish. RSI continues to look good there. 21 EMA sitting at 419.74. If this zone breaks with the 144 and VWAP all sitting right in that same zone, then 429.88 would be your next level. Overall, both of these still look a little bit bullish with some areas of resistance to consider. Moving over to Tesla and NVIDIA. Tesla down 3.1%, pushed right through that 203.80 level, pushed through the 200, sitting right there at the 9 EMA at 250. Held that level. It's currently sitting at 201.38 after testing it. Low of day was 198.75, and then you can see 197.75 is my next level to the downside if we don't get a continuation push. Honestly, I was surprised to not see a second day push here, rejected off of that 55 EMA. Thought we were headed back to that that 214 area. Momentum still trending to bullish. RSI still sitting just barely below the SMA, so that's a little bit bearish, but still trending slowly higher on the shorter time frames. And then looking at NVIDIA, 1.67%, gapped right through that trend line, retested it and rallied. Didn't quite get to the 55 EMA. That was the current price target at 119.48. If that zone breaks, 125.17 is the next level. Momentum is bullish. RSI is still bullish. Moving over to staples and discretionaries. Staples rocketing higher, 0.46 to the upside. Momentum bullish, RSI bullish. We are within striking range of that price target. It has been a very long grind trying to get to that level. It seems like we're going to touch it tomorrow, if not the next day. We are super close on the second, and we are super close here once again. And then looking at discretionaries, pulling back a little bit. Momentum and RSI both still say bullish, and we're holding that 200, which is at 176.90. Still looking for a test of that 180.10 level, and the 21 EMA sitting up there at 180.96. But we did see a little bit of a pullback here today. Moving over to oil and transports, oil and gas stocks did rally a little bit, 0.39. So this looks like a short-term pullback with the gap up, gap down, wick rejection, a little bit of rally here today. Momentum says it should go higher. RSI says it should go higher. And if it does, 140.88 is the level, which would give you about $3 of upside there. So still seems like a decent trade, decent pullback potential, still waiting for some gaps to fill there. So oil and gas still looking okay. And then transports up 0.41, looking to touch that 55 and 21 EMA sitting in there at 64.54. So interesting zone of resistance, ton of EMAs. My level there is 64.89. Momentum and RSI both still say bullish, but definitely some zones to watch going into tomorrow's session. Moving over to oil and gold. Oil has fallen for the last 2 days, rejecting back below this trend line. Still could hold this 21 EMA and the 9 EMA sitting in the same zone around 76.60. Certainly possible. It did gap up into the Thursday candle. Momentum kind of bullish. RSI definitely bullish. So could hold a higher low here and then look for a push back up to that 81 area. And then gold was really looking for a push above these previous highs. Wicked it on Tuesday, gap down here today on CPI. Still holding the level at 225.09, but momentum stepped to bearish. RSI kind of neutralized there. You can see this SMA trending sideways. I still think this is going to go higher, but it is sure taking a long time to do it. Moving over to Breadth, both of these popped a little bit more here today as we expected. It was a strong candle yesterday on both of these, so we got the continuation candle. Closed above 51.75, which was surprising. Did test that 144 EMA. So pushed through the 55, pushed through the level, starting to test some of these upper EMAs. Momentum definitely bullish, RSI definitely bullish. And then similarly here on 50-day breadth, candle not quite as strong, didn't break any levels by any means. Still a bullish candle, so you would expect some more push. But that 21 is hanging out there at 61.38, and then my level 62.25. So this seems to be a little bit of resistance, at least in the short term. Didn't see any kind of dramatic push here today. Moving over to the dollar did go down here today just a little bit. CPI was good, but not enough to drive prices too much lower after we got that PPI data on Tuesday. And then you can see that wick rejection, some buyers coming in around that 102.28 area, which is very close to this previous low. My level is still down at 102. Zoom out, see if we can find something. So we're getting down to that wick rejection from 8 March. Definitely an interesting zone. Tested that level twice now on the 5th and then again here today on the 14th. And now we're going to see what happens. Are we going to push through there, or is this a double bottom? And we're going to start to see the dollar at least do a short-term pullback. And that could absolutely be bearish for equities. The hourly chart is currently rolling to the downside and momentum is stepping to the downside. But look at this RSI. It's holding higher lows. SMA trending higher. Touch the 50 line, so that could be the top, and we're definitely starting to reject here a little bit. But if we hold that 21 EMA in there at 102.54, that could be an interesting zone, and if this dollar starts to rally tomorrow, that could be a little bit bearish for markets. Moving over to bonds here today, we got a big breakout on J&K, big close up above that 95.61 level, momentum bullish, RSI bullish, so everything looks good there. We've been above it before on a closing basis back on 31 July, and then we gapped down massive and sold off dramatically. But right now, 2 stacked candles, strong push, strong close. If we can push above this, 96.50 would be the next level. And that would mean to me that people are still willing to take risk in markets. Could be a pretty bullish indicator over the next couple days. J&K definitely looks a lot stronger here today. I was really looking for a rejection off this previous level, just like we've been doing for the last several months. But this is a strong push. Looks very good now here today. And then looking at TLT, strong push also, just like we expected, 0.63. I think this is headed towards that trend up around 98, 96 or that 99 area, and then eventually up to that 100 area. Momentum and RSI are still both bullish here. Moving over to volatility, this is cratering as expected. 55 EMA on the VIX sitting there at 1543. Move index 200 sitting at 105.78. Both of these are falling quite a bit. Momentum fading, RSI fading. Seems like this is going to head back down to a normalized range, and then we'll see what happens from there. Moving over to my accounts, I made a little bit of money. I didn't really do anything all day. You can see one trade, and that was just to roll out my IWM covered call. Rolled it out to 206 for tomorrow. That ended up being a really good move here. So you can see the stock was actually down $1.30, but I was able to stay profitable on that position, up $80 on the day because I was in the money. So that would have expired in the money just a little bit, but well below my max profit position. So covered all the losses and made a little bit of money. So that was good. And then I rolled it out here up one strike to 206 for tomorrow. And I was able to do that for credit. And you can see now $1.91 for tomorrow. So max profit on that, 207.91. And you can see after hours down just a smidgen, but still protected pretty well, about a 1% move protection. And then looking at the Qs here, you can see didn't do anything at all with this position. 456, same as yesterday. For $8 credit. Max profit is $4.64. And with that, it is up just a little bit after hours, a little bit short of 50 cents. So still below the max profit. And then we're going to be at the money. And then since this does expire tomorrow, I could absolutely roll it out to the Friday session if I need to try to get in a little bit more credit and give myself some more profit potential. So plenty of protection, still being cautious as we continue to hit these zones of resistance on the way up. Let me know down in the comment section what you think of the inflation data. Are we going to get that cut in September now after the unemployment data, and now this inflation data? Or can something still throw us off the rails? Definitely let me know, and like and subscribe if you got any value out of this video, and make sure you hit the bell so you don't miss out on any future episodes. Of course, none of this is financial advice. This is all for entertainment purposes. Good luck in your trading and have a great day.